Welcome. I'm so happy that you're all ventured out on this cold, sunny day. So welcome to Crossroads Presbyterian Church. I know some of you this is new, you haven't been here, and some of you haven't maybe been here in a while. So welcome to everyone. Today, our yoga ministry, Practice for a Purpose, will be offering an all-level chair and mat class. So my name is Ann Oddie. I'll be teaching from the mat. Tracy Shoneman is our chair yoga teacher, and she'll be offering options from the chair. So ideally, what I would love is for someone to be walking by, looking in here and saying, what are they doing? Because they all look like they're doing something slightly different, as long as you are safely doing something different. So we'll offer multiple options. Yoga is not a competition. Everyone's body and symmetry is different. Something that maybe I could have done easily yesterday, I might not be able to do easily today. So you just need to really listen to your body, including unchoosing anything that we offer. So don't look at each other, and don't feel like you have to look and do exactly what we're doing. It's important that yoga is comfortable in your body. You have 100% agency over your practice and your body. So yoga is free, and if you're so inclined, contributions can be made toward our current beneficiary, which is the Presbyterian Disaster Assistance Fund. They are on the ground helping refugees in Ukraine, in and around Ukraine. As always, 100% of what is contributed goes directly through. So Crossroads is just a pass-through to the mission committee that then sends the funds on directly. So we thank you for your support, whether it's contributions or just simply being here today to practice. All right, let's take a welcome breath in through the nose. Sigh it out of the mouth. And just notice the difference that one breath made. So some of you have made your way to your mat. Some of you are remaining in the chair. All is right and perfect. If you are on a chair and you're noticing, like me when I sit on a chair, that your hips are not comfortable, maybe use the blocks and put your feet on the blocks. My legs must be too short, so feel free to do that. And just begin to go ahead and move side to side, making sure the hips are firmly grounded, and then a little back and forth. Gently draw shoulders up, back, and down, and not like a military exercise, just really gentle. Create that long, neutral spine. A little bit of a tuck of the chin. And when you do that, notice the crown of the head draws up. If you are on the mat, it's hard for me to not put blocks underneath my knees, so feel free to do that for support. We'll be seated for a while, but you are always welcome to lie down, make any changes. Don't ever feel like because I chose this position, I'm going to stay here until she tells me to move. Always feel free to make any adjustments. If you've not already done so, you're welcome to soften your gaze, close your eyes if that is comfortable. Or maybe find something to focus on, the fire, the sun streaming in. Notice if you're clenching your teeth and release and relax. And begin to notice what is on your mind. Lists, worries, what's next? Will my garage door open when I get home? Whatever it is, one by one, note them and release them. And just watch them float away like a beautiful snowflake. Perhaps focusing on your breath can help to relax the mind, gives the busy mind something to do. Draw awareness to your physical body. We are all different shapes, different sizes, different areas of care and concern. Take a moment and just do a little scan of your body. Reflect on your movements today. Noticing any areas of stickiness, tightness, tension that you might be holding. Maybe there's some things you can soften. Just relax a little bit. Or maybe it's a message that you need to take good care and concern during your practice. Not push, not force. You can always do more, but are you strong enough to do less? Bring your awareness to your heart. Notice who is on your heart. And if there is someone or something that you've been thinking about, feel free to tune me out. Continue to focus on that which is important to you. Or perhaps you'll find inspiration in today's devotion. The theme is inner peace. One with God, I am at peace. I begin the day in prayer, immersed in the love of God. I am steeped in peace and tranquility. I go forth serene, confident no one and nothing will rob me of my bliss. When situations arise that are beyond my control, I remind myself God is greater than any circumstance. If challenges leave me feeling rattled with a racing mind, I pause and bring my awareness to my heart. I take a few deep, calming breaths as I release negative or fearful thoughts. With a grateful heart, I affirm the goodness of God. I end the day quietly, contented. The peace in my heart spreads throughout my mind and body. As I prepare for sleep, I relax into the love of God. I am peaceful and so very blessed. And the scripture is John chapter 14, verse 27. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled. Take a moment to set an intention. It could be just continuing to focus on that which was already on your heart. Or maybe it's as simple as just repeating the words peace during your practice. Dear heart, what is it that you need from me today? Begin to draw your awareness to your breath, noticing the quality of your breath, the rhythm, the flow. Inhaling and exhaling through the nose, if that is available to you. Beginning to draw breath down to the belly. We'll transition to something that's called Dirga breath, or three-part yogic breath. Inhaling through the nose, drawing the breath all the way down to the belly. If you'd like, you can place a hand on your belly, feeling the belly swell with breath. And then a hand on the diaphragm as you fill the torso. And then a hand on the collarbones as they lift. Pause for one count and then slowly, steadily begin the process of exhalation. Collarbones lower, diaphragm compresses, belly flattens. Draw belly button into spine to squeeze a little bit more air out. Pause for a count. And then begin the process of life and breath again. If that's not a comfortable rhythm for you, settle into a rhythm that speaks to you. If you're having difficulty calming the mind, perhaps layer on what's called ocean-sounding breath by constricting the back of the throat just a little bit. Makes a soothing sound like the waves. It gives your mind something to focus on. And now next, see if you can lengthen the exhalation. Maybe just an extra count. That helps take all that stress out of the body. Practice this breath for 1 minute as I go silent. Transition to just a normal, natural breath. And as you remain seated, again, let's draw shoulders up, back, and down. Draw belly button into spine. Create that long, neutral spine. And take your hands either out in the air, or you can place them on the chair, out on the mat, all sorts of options. And we'll inhale arms up slowly with a beginning, a middle, and an end. Just feeling the sensation in our arms. If it's comfortable, a little prayer hand at the top. And really reach in and lengthen. And then flip the palms and slowly exhale down. So what we're doing right now is lengthening the spine. It's called axial extension. In yoga, you always want to have a long, neutral spine. We'll do that one more time and pause at the top. Inhale, arms up. Little prayer tap. Exhale, I'm going to mirror, so take that left palm and place it either down on the mat, on your lap, on the chair, and exhale over. So we're beginning to warm up the 6 movements of the spine. This is a lateral movement here. Inhale up. And exhale, right palm down. And you extend and bend to your comfort level. Once you begin feeling sensation, pause, stop, don't go further unless you know it's safe. Inhale, arms up, both arms up, take a breath, get the air out, twist to the left. Now that all that air is out of the belly, palms come down and land wherever is comfortable. Looking over the shoulder, warming up the spine from a rotational movement here. Inhale, arms up. Come center, exhale. And take another breath in. Exhale. And then twist to the opposite side. Looking over the shoulder, not forcing or torquing. Inhale, arms up. Little prayer hand at the top. Clasp, let's keep them prayer hands down the midline, pausing at the heart. And then clasp hands and press away. So hollow out the belly just a little bit. Belly button draws to spine and spine to the wall or chair behind you. Inhale, arms up, and as you do so, hips roll forward a little bit. You feel a little baby back bend. Release the palms, and now that left palm comes down. So we'll continue with this flow for just a couple more rounds. You're welcome to close your eyes and make it a moving meditation. Or if you're like, yeah, but I won't remember what I'm supposed to be doing, feel free to keep your eyes open. And one more round. Looks great. And prayer hands down the midline. So that was warming up the spine from the 6 movements. Now we'll extend our legs forward. So you're welcome to do so on the mat or in the chair. If you're remaining in the chair, you can always watch Tracy for options. And again, long neutral spine, so maybe a little rock side to side, making sure hips are grounded, shoulders up, back, and down. Draw belly button to spine. Feel the core engage. Draw tuck the chin just a bit so that you have like this beautiful double, triple chin. You're not looking down tucking. You're drawing the crown of the head up and back. I try to practice this in my car. So palms on thighs or wherever is comfortable for the moment. And just feel the engagement in the body. And then release. And begin pointing and flexing the feet. Take arms out, create a steeple. And begin making a figure 8. And you can move the ankles. You can take that movement into the knees. Hips, wrists, elbows, shoulders. We're getting the synovial fluids moving throughout the body, warming up or going to the joints, protecting them. It's very gentle movement. And then pause. Notice which thumb is on top. Unclasp, this might be the hardest thing you do. Unclasp, reclasp the awkward way, opposite thumb on top. See, I already forgot. And now, opposite direction. It's kind of like Vacation Bible School, right? Here's the church, here's the steeple. And pause and release. Take your right ankle, crossing it over your left, and draw it up onto the thigh or wherever is comfortable for you. Feel free to help it along. Hands behind you for support. And you can either scoot your hips forward toward your heel or heel forward toward your hips, or both. In this figure 4, find a spot where you feel a nice, let's see, how do I say it? Like a kind of a sweet spot for stretch in the hips. It could be right here. That could be enough. No forcing. And sometimes I like to just kind of rock side to side a little bit because I'm like, oh, if I pause right there, that's a really good spot to settle into. Flex your foot to protect your knee. And just breathe. Warming up the hip flexors here. And then glide that right heel down. I think I forgot to mirror there, sorry. And then right ankle over left. And again, feel free to help it along. There's no reason to force anything. And glide and slide toward that heel. Flex the foot that's on top. Maybe a little bit of movement, finding that sweet spot for a stretch. Or maybe you just like it static and settle in and breathe. And glide that left foot forward and right leg down. Shake it out. Now come into a tabletop position. And those of you in the chairs, keep your eye on Tracy. So coming onto your mat, if you've got fussy knees, feel free to put a blanket underneath your knees. And if you think that when we get up off of the mat that you'd like to have the chair nearby, position that chair as well. So on the mat, palms, wrists are under elbows, elbows are under shoulders, knees are under hips.
If you're standing, just take a slight micro bend in your knees and tilt your tailbone up. Keep a neutral spine looking down at the chair.
And take a breath in. As you do, sink the belly, draw the crown of the head slightly up, hips will come up, and then exhale, draw belly button to spine and spine to the heavens, getting a nice lift. So we're moving into cat-cow, which is extension and flexion. We did this seated earlier, but this provides us with a little bit more range of enjoyment. So continue to follow your breath. As you inhale, belly softens and sinks, crown of the head up, hips are up, and then exhale, belly button to spine and spine to ceiling. Follow your breath. Let your breath be your teacher for just a couple more rounds. And next time you're in that neutral position, pause. I'm going to move my block on this side. Extend your right fingertips forward and left toes back. Belly button draws to spine to protect the low back. And just notice the engagement in the body there. Press back on that heel. So little motion back and forth, getting a nice hamstring stretch. Take the right palm and move it back. Left knee comes back. Extend the left fingertips and right toes. Belly button draws to spine to protect the low back. And then begin just pressing gently through the heel. It's a little rock, front and back. Looks great. Glide that palm and knee back so you're in tabletop position. Widen the palms slightly, widen the knees, big toes touch. Take a breath in. And on the exhalation, draw hips back toward the heels, child's pose. Arms can come out long in front, or they can be supportive underneath your forehead. Draw the tailbone down, lengthening the spine. Make any adjustments for care and for comfort.
If this is too much standing too, you're welcome to take a seated child's pose, sitting in the chair, giving yourself crossing your arms at opposite, and then just bending forward here to elongate that spine. Yogi's choice. That is another option.
This looks great. You're all doing different things as long as you feel safe and secure. Glide palms back under shoulders, pressing up. You're back in tabletop position, and then extend palms one hand print further in front. Curl the back toes. Inhale, hips up and back. So they're reaching to where the wall and the ceiling meet, not straight up to the ceiling, but to the corner. Make any adjustments for comfort. If this is not comfortable, there's options that Tracy is showing.
For your standing down dog, place both hands on the seat of the chair, or you can turn the chair around to the backrest if that is too deep of an option. And same thing, step it back as far as you feel comfortable. Micro bend in your knees as you begin to lift your tailbone up.
Belly is soft. There's a bend in the knees, however much you need. And then notice shoulders coming up almost like toward your ears. Draw shoulder blades down under the armpits toward the front body. And press one heel gently down. Take a bend in the opposite knee. Walking the dog, this is called, and then switch to the opposite side. Very gentle movement. Glide your hands back toward your feet, keeping a bend in the knees. Forward fold. You can use the chair as well.
Just work to bring the crown of your head towards the seat of the chair. Or on blocks, you can bring your hands to a block here. If you'd like a version in between the chair and the floor, use the block as an option.
And then halfway lift, bringing your palms to shins or knees or thighs or chair. Extend the crown of the head forward, hips behind you. Imagine we're coming around with teacups and placing them on your back right now. Draw shoulder blades down. Core is engaged. Release the hands. Give yourself a hug. Inhale. Open arms and unhinge to standing. Arms draw up. Prayer hands down the midline. Pausing. Connecting with your intention. Allowing our warm-up to settle in your body. Connecting mind, body, and breath. Take a breath in. Sigh it out. Release, relax. Take any movement that feels good to you. And there's been a request for toe yoga. So I will be using a chair as well. Everyone will need something to at least be able to steady themselves, and one block. And you can just set that block off to the side. Let me move my notes. So, starting on whichever foot you'd like. Just rock front and back and kind of make sure all four corners of the feet feel firmly grounded and you're stable and steady. Those of you with socks on, you're welcome to keep them on. Might be a little bit more challenging for this. Also, just know that with socks on, you always want to be sure that you're safe on the mat. So to begin with, plant your little toes and lift your big toes. So, yeah. And now lift and lower, lift and lower, lift and lower. Plant the big toe, lift the other toes. Lift and lower, lift and lower. Shake it off if you do. Remember I said you can always unchoose too. And now lift all the toes, fan them out as best you can. Set the little toe down. then the ring toe, then the middle toe, pointer toe, big toe. Draw onto your tippy toes and down. Just a couple times. And lower. And now, I don't know what the right verb is. Squinch your toes towards your heels so you're getting a lift in the arch. Scrunch, thank you. So you feel the arches lift, lower, lift, lower, lift, and lower. Now taking the block, and it doesn't matter which side. First, before you do that, just walk around your mat. Smile at each other as you go by. Just notice the hips, notice your legs. I've noticed I have a little compression on one side in my hip. So what do you notice? All right, now we'll come back to the block, whichever foot you'd like. Make sure the chair is handy. And we'll step up and notice where that leg that's hanging off in space, where that's landing. Are you able to touch the mat? Is it all the way down? Are you just grazing it? Just notice. Try to keep hips level. And then just gently swing. Try not to control it. Try to allow gravity to really be your friend here. And then pause, hand on hip. Hike that hip up and down. Up, down. One more time. And release. Notice now where that foot is on the mat. Maybe you just grew an inch, maybe not. Step off and walk around. Maybe you go in the opposite direction this time. And then come back to the block. I'm going to move my chair. You don't need to. Opposite foot on the block. And notice, oops, I didn't even put opposite foot on the block. Opposite foot on the block. And notice where that foot hits the mat. Level the hips. And then just begin to swing and really try to release, not to control or force it. Pausing and hike and release. Hike, release. One last time and step off. Just notice what difference there might be. Feels better in my one hip for sure. Coming to the mat, feet are hip width distance apart. You can use the chair for support if you'd like. Again, that little rocking side to side, just making sure that you're hitting all four corners. Maybe hands are on the hips to start with. And then, as one of my yoga teachers always said, I like to take a little bend in the knees. Knees are the decider. So you want happy knees as you take a little bounce. And then a neutral hip. So just kind of move your hips back and forth and find what is neutral. May not always necessarily feel natural. Draw belly button in. Tailbone comes down slightly. You're not tucking. It's just a slight. Jean Ellen would say, almost imagine someone's hitting you in the gut. and you're feeling that core engage. Then release the hands, shoulders up, back, and down, gentle. And again with the beautiful double, triple chin. So we're not looking down, we're drawing that chin back, crown of the head up. So you're lifting from back here. So there is a thing that's called forward head position. And especially with our devices, we're all prone to it. So when I stand up in church, when they have us stand up to sing, I always check my posture this way. Sometimes I'll put my hands behind my back, just so that I keep my heart open and I keep that alignment. Keeping the belly in. And then draw arms back. Take a bend in the knees. As you do so, lower the tailbone. I'll do a side profile here. Slightly drop that tailbone so there's no tension in the low back. Some of you are skiers, so you know this position well. Inhale, arms up. They can be on either side of the ears. That's a little too much for my back. They can be forward, or my favorite, prayer hands. If you're in prayer hands, press the hands together. Look down. You should be able to see your toes. Knees should be generally aligned with your feet in this chair position. Breathing. Don't forget to breathe. And then think about rising. So really press into the feet, or as we like to say, root to rise. So press and lift and release. And we'll have blocks at the top of the mat. I'm going to move my chair off to the side. We may or may not need them there, but come to the bottom of the mat, hands on hips, and step your left foot forward. As you do so, actually I could move my chair here as well, so that you can always have it there as for a little extra safety. As you do so, make sure that you've got a train track between your feet, so that you're not on a balance beam, because it will be harder to balance. So stepping back, take a bend in that front knee. Torso is upright. Inhale, arms up. Relax shoulders. You're pressing out through the back heel. And breathing. And then prayer hands. If this is accessible, take a breath in. On the exhalation, twist into that front leg, or in the direction of that front leg. Still pressing out through the back heel. Inhale forward. Here's the tricky part, because that front knee is going to want to collapse in. Exhale, twist the opposite direction. Inhale forward. Release palms either to the chair or your thigh. Press forward, bringing that back foot forward. And then come to the bottom of the mat again. And this time step the opposite foot forward. Train tracks. Make sure you feel stable and steady. Inhale, arms up. Relaxing shoulders. And if this doesn't feel good, you can always bring hands to goal post or keep them on your waist on a chair. pressing back through that back heel. Front knee is aligned to that front foot. Prayer hands down the midline. On the exhalation, twist in the direction of that front knee. Inhale forward. Next exhalation, twist in the opposite direction. And forward. Palms to chair or to thigh. Lean forward and bring that back foot forward. And shake it out. We'll come to the bottom of the mat. If you have fussy knees, bring a blanket and place it in the middle. Actually, we'll do breath of joy to transition. Some of you know this is one of my favorites. So, breath of joy is one long breath broken up into 3 parts. So you'll keep inhaling and you'll notice the 3 parts. The arm movements go like this, and then you let the breath out. So we'll do it probably about 4 times. The last time I'll cue that will transition down to the mat slowly. So, all right, once you get the hang, join me. Last time, slow it down. And we'll slowly come down to the mat. Into tabletop. And glide that right knee toward the right wrist. Now, there's lots of options for this pose. So if you start to do that and it's not happening, don't worry, you can sit in a chair or you can actually sit on your mat. Take that right leg and bring the foot out toward the left. Blocks handy is good. So you can prop this hip. Coming into a pigeon pose.
And for chair, I have 2 options. You can stay in a seated pigeon pose here. Feel your spine get long, the crown of your head comes up, and then ever so slightly with your exhale, hinge forward, feeling that sweet spot in that hip. Or another chair option for pigeon. I will demonstrate this way. You can bring your leg up onto the chair for a standing pigeon pose with chair assist. The hands can come onto the chair and go forward wherever you find that spot.
Those of you on the mat can lower or can stay in upright arms. Once again, remember you always have the option to unchoose anything that we're offering. Couple breaths. And now glide palms under shoulders, pressing up, bringing that knee back to meet the opposite knee. Reset yourself in tabletop. Glide the left knee toward the left wrist. And then bring that foot out to the right a little bit. So you're fanning it out, gliding the right knee back.
Pose good for bursitis?
I'm not sure. It's good for the hips.
Okay.
Good for stretching the hips. And you can
Foot flexed if you're in seated, that protects your knee. And then use your exhale to Bring your torso closer to your thighs.
And breathe. And glide the palms underneath the shoulders, pressing up. Coming back into tabletop, and then rising onto your knees. Padding up. And just as if we were standing, the same cues, only from knees up, right? So draw belly button to spine. Inhale, shoulders up, back, and down. Actually, we should probably have blocks back here. You may or may not use them, but they're available if you do. So the average head weighs 10 to 15 or 10 to 12 pounds. You always want to make sure that you're controlling that in this baby back bend position. So you tuck the chin, and I think I'll turn this way so you can see my profile. Tuck the chin, place the palms above the hips, and you'll notice you're already in a baby back bend. If you would like, another option can be lifting the head up slowly. That takes you into a little bit deeper back bend, but you're controlling it. Another option, my favorite, is one arm up, reaching up to the heavens. And if you're choosing this option, exhale that arm down and inhale the opposite arm up. Exhale, arm down, and then begin to tuck the chin, coming forward. And we'll come on to all fours and take a child's pose just as a counterbalance, stretching out the low back. Glide palms under shoulders, pressing up. Handprints, one handprint further in front. Curl the back toes. Inhale, lift those hips up into downward facing dog. Belly is soft. Heels may or may not be touching the mat. It does not matter. Hips are lifting toward the corner where the wall and ceiling meet, and then draw shoulder blades down. This time, walk your feet toward your hands, keeping a bend in your knees. Halfway lift, palms go wherever is comfortable. Get ready for that cup of tea on your back. Crown of the head reaching forward, hips behind you. And if you can remember, give yourself a hug, opposite arm on top. Inhale, open arms and unhinge to standing. Prayer hands down the midline. Pausing one more time, connecting with Him, with your intention, body, mind, heart with breath. And take a breath in, sigh it out, release and relax. And we'll do a little balance before we close. So you may want to have a chair handy. Come into that good mountain position. So just making sure feet are grounded, knees are happy, We can have a block for this if you'd like as well. And then take your right foot a little bit more center to the body. Draw up onto the left toes. Take that left heel over the right ankle. This is a version of tree. You're welcome to stay here. Make sure you're aligning and hugging into the midline. You feel the lift in the body. Another option would be to lift that foot, placing it just inside the calf. If you feel stable and steady, then maybe you release one arm, maybe another. Find something to look at that's not moving, so don't look at me. Breathe. And you know, there's a lot of ice out there, so try to kind of get yourself safely off balance. We can create that muscle memory so our core will catch us. And release, leg out and down. And the opposite side. And you can always put your foot on a block too. So all sorts of options. Move my chair. Create that good form. And draw the left foot a little more center. Right heel above left ankle. And notice when you do that, like I'm kind of leaning forward. Draw all this in and hug your body into the midline to create lift, lengthen, lift. Foot can go here. Maybe some of you can get it above the knee, not on the knee though. Once you're stable and steady, maybe one arm, maybe both arms. Breathe. And that wind is coming. Feel that core working. And then you can send that leg out, 5-pointed balancing star, release and relax. And we'll make our way down to our mats. So safely get down to the mat, whatever works for you. Coming on to your hips. Keeping a bend in the knees. Feel that long neutral spine. Palms can be on the knees or behind the thighs. And then release the arms. Take a breath in. On the exhalation, slowly lower. And then pause. Now close your eyes. Don't be biased by anyone else in the room. We'll all lower onto our mats at our own pace. Take a breath in. And exhale. Pause. So continue following your own breath. Once you are on the mat, take any final shape, movement, maybe knees into your heart, rocking side to side, maybe legs up. You could take a bend in those knees, drawing knees toward the floor, and inhale, hands up to either the outer edges of the legs or the ankles for happy baby. So find a shape, a position, a movement that speaks to you. And when you're ready, settle in for relaxation. Making sure the body is comfortable. The body cools down pretty quickly. You might want to add a layer or have the blanket close by.
For those of you in the chair, if you'd like to come down to the mat and put your feet on the chair, or just go ahead and get settled in using your backrest for support, coming into a comfortable seat, or there's options to come down to your mat. You can lay on your blanket and then put your feet up onto a chair. The choice is yours.
So we'll be here for just a few minutes of relaxation. As you settle in, just as we started, take that breath in through the nose. Sigh it out of the mouth. Find a place in your body where you can soften, where you can create some comfort, some ease, where you can let go. Do you want the chair moved a little closer for you?
And for those of you that are lying on your mat, if you'd like, we have lavender eye pillows I will come around with. If you have glasses on, go ahead and remove them at this time. If you do not wish to have a lavender eye pillow, for those of you in Shavasana, go ahead and just cross your hands over your chest and I will not place one on you.
Begin to draw your awareness back to this sacred space, inviting small, gentle movement into the body. Drawing For those of you on the mat, drawing knees into your heart. And sadly, this might be the moment the eye pillows will come off. But gently pick a side that you want to roll off onto, pressing up to a seated position. Little rock side to side, lengthening the spine. And just pausing for a moment as I reread a portion of the devotion. One with God, I am at peace. I begin the day in prayer, immersed in the love of God. I am steeped in peace and tranquility. I go forth serene, confident, and no one, nothing will rob me of my bliss. As I prepare for the end of the day, I relax into the love of God. I am peaceful and so blessed. Hands out to your sides. Inhale, arms up. Prayer hands down the midline. Sigh it out. Pausing at your heart. Thanking God for the many blessings. The gift of peace. And then pausing and lifting up to Him those who are on your hearts, on your minds. And finally, just thanking yourself for being here on this cold day, cultivating a practice of inner peace with so much gratitude. Namaste.